The lawnmower sputtered and went silent in my garage, oil seeping onto the concrete like a dark stain. Through the kitchen window, I could hear my 16-year-old daughter Maddie's voice cutting through the night air like a rusty blade. "Dad's pathetic, Mom. You deserve someone who isn't stuck running some crappy hardware store forever." I wiped my greasy hands on a rag, feeling that familiar burn in my chest. Evan Matthews, 43 years old, owner of Matthews Hardware for 15 years. Built it from nothing after losing my factory job. Rachel used to be proud of that. Now she worked at Pinnacle Insurance downtown, wearing suits that cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Your father works hard, Maddie." Rachel's voice drifted out, but even I could hear the lack of conviction. "Whatever. Kyle says you should just leave him. Start fresh." Kyle. That name had been popping up in conversations for months. Rachel's coworker. The IT guy with the fancy car and designer jeans who made my wife laugh at office parties while I stood around holding her purse. I set down my wrench and walked toward the house. The screen door creaked as I entered the kitchen. Rachel was loading the dishwasher, her back to me. She'd changed out of her work clothes into yoga pants and a tank top that showed off the gym membership she'd gotten 6 months ago. "Who's Kyle again?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. Maddie rolled her eyes. "Mom's friend from work. He's actually cool, unlike—" "Maddie, go to your room," Rachel snapped, not turning around. Our daughter stomped upstairs, her door slamming hard enough to rattle the windows. Rachel finally faced me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Guilt mixed with defiance. "We need to talk," she said. "About Kyle?" She flinched. "About us. About where we're going." "Where are we going, Rachel?" She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "I don't know anymore, Evan. I feel like we're just existing. Going through the motions. And Kyle doesn't make you feel that way?" The color drained from her face. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm not stupid." I pulled out a kitchen chair and sat down. "You've been working late every night for 2 months. You bought new underwear, expensive stuff. You never wear it for me. You're being paranoid." "Am I?" I stood up and walked to her purse on the counter. She lunged forward, but I was faster. Her phone was right on top. "Evan, don't—" I swiped it open. She hadn't changed her password. Still Maddie's birthday. The text messages were all there, a digital trail of betrayal spanning weeks. Kyle. "Can't wait to see you tonight. That hotel room is calling our names." Rachel. "Evan's working late at the store again. He'll never know." Kyle. "Good. I'm tired of sneaking around. When are you going to leave him?" Rachel. "Soon. I just need to figure out the logistics." I set the phone down gently on the counter. Rachel was crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of someone who'd been caught. "How long?" I asked. "Evan." "How long, Rachel?" 3 months. Her voice was barely a whisper. I nodded slowly. "The Marriott on 5th Street. Room 237. Last Tuesday night." Her eyes went wide. "How did you—" "I followed you." I picked up her phone again and scrolled through more messages. "Kyle drives a blue BMW. License plate starts with KMR. He lives in that new apartment complex on Elm Street. You're scaring me." "Good." I deleted nothing, changed nothing, just memorized everything. "I'm going to bed. We'll talk more tomorrow." I walked upstairs, leaving her standing in the kitchen. In our bedroom, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to her pace downstairs until nearly 2 in the morning. The next day, Rachel tried to act normal. She made coffee, kissed my cheek goodbye, told me she'd be working late again. I smiled and said I understood. At the hardware store, I called my buddy Tom Brennan. He used to be a cop before he opened Brennan's Bar downtown. If anyone knew how to handle a situation like this, it was Tom. "She's cheating," I told him over the phone. "You sure?" Saw the texts, know where they meet, know everything. Tom was quiet for a moment. What do you want to do about it? I want them to pay. Both of them. Evan, be smart about this. Don't do anything that'll land you in jail. I won't, but I'm done being the nice guy. That afternoon, I drove to Rachel's office. Pinnacle Insurance occupied the third floor of a glass building downtown. I'd been there for Christmas parties, company picnics. I knew the layout. Kyle's BMW was in the parking garage. I didn't touch it. Not yet. Instead, I went upstairs and asked the receptionist if I could surprise Rachel with lunch. Oh, she's in a meeting with Kyle from IT, the young woman said. They've been working on some big project together. I'll bet they have. Which conference room? The one at the end of the hall, but you might want to… I was already walking. The conference room had glass walls, but the blinds were partially closed. Through the gap, I could see Rachel leaning over Kyle's shoulder, looking at his laptop screen. His hand was on her lower back. I knocked on the glass. They jumped apart like teenagers caught by their parents. Honey? Rachel's voice was too bright, too loud. What are you doing here? Brought you lunch. I held up a bag from the deli down the street. You must be Kyle. He was younger than me by at least 10 years. Tall, lean, wearing a shirt that probably cost more than I made in a day. He had the kind of confidence that came from never having to worry about making payroll or fixing broken equipment with duct tape and prayer. Nice to meet you, he said, extending his hand. Rachel talks about you all the time. I shook his hand, squeezing just hard enough to make him uncomfortable. I'm sure she does. What kind of project are you two working on? Database integration, Rachel said quickly. Very boring technical stuff. Sounds complicated. Must require a lot of late nights. Kyle's smile faltered. Well, you know how it is. Deadlines and all. Oh, I know exactly how it is. I set the lunch bag on the conference table. Rachel, can I talk to you privately? We stepped into the hallway. Rachel's face was flushed, her hands shaking slightly. What are you doing here, Evan? Checking up on my wife, making sure she's safe. You never know what kind of people might try to take advantage of a married woman. You're embarrassing me. Good. Because you've been embarrassing me for 3 months. I left her standing in the hallway and walked back to the conference room. Kyle was packing up his laptop. Kyle, right? I own Matthews Hardware on Maple Street. You should stop by sometime. I've got all kinds of tools. Hammers, crowbars, nail guns. You'd be surprised what a man can do with the right tools. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed hard. Sure. Yeah. Maybe I'll check it out. You do that. That evening, Rachel came home 2 hours earlier than usual. She found me in the garage, sharpening a set of chisels on my grinding wheel. The sparks flew in orange arcs and the metal sang against the stone. We need to talk, she said. I didn't look up from my work. About your database integration project? Evan, please. I shut off the grinder and turned to face her. You want to leave me for Kyle, I get it. He's younger, makes more money, drives a fancy car. Question is, what are you waiting for? It's not that simple. Sure it is. You pack your stuff, file for divorce, move in with your boyfriend. Simple as that. She was crying again. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. And now you have to decide what you want to do about it. I want to try to work things out. End things with Kyle. Go to counseling. I picked up one of the chisels, testing its edge with my thumb, sharp enough to cut paper. Too late for that. What do you mean? I mean, I'm done, Rachel. 15 years of marriage, and you threw it away for some pretty boy with a fancy car. You made your choice. So what happens now? I smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. Now you get to live with the consequences. The next morning, I went to the bank and removed Rachel from all our joint accounts. Then I called our insurance company and took her off our policies. By the time she tried to use her credit card for lunch, she was effectively broke. Her first call came at 2:30 p.m. Evan, what did you do? I protected my assets. You want a divorce? You can pay for it yourself. You can't do this. Already did. Check with the bank if you don't believe me. She hung up. The second call came an hour later. My car insurance is canceled. I can't drive without insurance. Better call Kyle. I'm sure he'll give you a ride. You're being cruel. I'm being practical. You want out of this marriage? Get out. But don't expect me to pay for the privilege of being betrayed. That night, she didn't come home. I assumed she was staying with Kyle. Fine by me. Tom called around 9. Heard you made some moves today. Word travels fast in a small town. Rachel was at the bar earlier, crying into a beer. Kyle wasn't with her. Trouble in paradise? Seems like it. She tried to pay with a card, but it was declined. I covered her tab, but she was pretty upset. What did she say? That you'd lost your mind. That you were trying to ruin her life. I laughed. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm just not paying for it anymore. The next few days were quiet. Rachel stayed away, though I saw Kyle's BMW in our driveway once when I came home for lunch. I didn't go inside. Instead, I waited across the street until he left, then went in to find several of Rachel's suitcases missing from our bedroom closet. She was moving out. Good. But apparently it wasn't going as smoothly as she'd hoped. Tom called Thursday night with an update. Your wife's been staying at the Motel 6 out on Route 9. Not with Kyle? Nope. Heard his landlord doesn't allow overnight guests. Something about noise complaints from other tenants. How romantic. Gets better. She came into the bar again tonight, tried to borrow money from some of the regulars. Nobody was interested. I felt a warm glow of satisfaction. What about her job? That's the interesting part. Apparently her boss found out about the affair. Company policy prohibits relationships between employees. She's been suspended pending an investigation. I hadn't expected that, but I wasn't complaining. How did her boss find out? Anonymous tip, apparently. I hadn't made any anonymous tips, but I wasn't about to look a gift horse in the mouth. Friday evening, Rachel showed up at the house. She looked terrible, dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed, wearing the same clothes I'd seen her in 2 days ago. I want to come home, she said. This isn't your home anymore. Evan, please. I made a mistake. I know that now. What happened to Kyle? Her face crumpled. He said things were moving too fast, that he needed space. So he dumped you. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. He got what he wanted, and now he's done with you. I have nowhere else to go. You should have thought of that before you decided to cheat on me. I'm your wife. No, you're my soon-to-be ex-wife. Big difference. I started to close the door, but she put her hand against it. The locks are changed, she said. Yep. My clothes are gone. Donated them to Goodwill. Figured you wouldn't need them anymore. Her eyes went wide. Those were expensive clothes. We're being the operative phrase. You can't do this. Half of everything is mine. Talk to a lawyer. Oh, wait. You can't afford one. I closed the door and locked it. She pounded on it for 10 minutes before giving up. Saturday morning, I was opening the hardware store when Kyle's BMW pulled into the parking lot. He got out slowly, looking around like he expected an ambush. We need to talk, he said. About what? About Rachel. About this whole situation. I unlocked the front door and walked inside. He followed me. Look, I know you're upset, he said, but this has gotten out of hand. Has it? She's living in a motel. She lost her job. Her credit cards are maxed out. Sounds like a personal problem. You're destroying her life. I turned to face him. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just not enabling it anymore. She loves you, man. She wants to work things out. She loves me? I laughed. Is that why she was texting you about leaving me? Is that why she spent 3 months sneaking around behind my back? Kyle had the decency to look ashamed. That was different. We got caught up in the moment. For 3 months? Look, I'll back off, okay? I'll transfer to a different department. We'll stop seeing each other. Too late for that. What do you want from me? I walked over to a display of hammers and picked up a 20-ounce framing hammer. Kyle took a step back. I want you to understand something, I said, testing the weight of the hammer in my hand. You thought you could waltz into my life and take my wife. You thought I was just some dumb blue-collar guy who wouldn't fight back. I never thought that. Sure you did. You saw the hardware store, the work clothes, the calloused hands, and you figured I was beneath you. Figured Rachel was settling for less than she deserved. That's not true. Isn't it? I set the hammer down and pulled out my phone. I've got screenshots of all your text messages, Kyle. The ones where you called me a dead-end loser. The ones where you said Rachel could do better. His face went pale. How did you... Small town. People talk. Rachel's phone wasn't the only one I had access to. That was a lie, but he didn't need to know that. What do you want? He asked again. I want you gone. Transfer to another office, quit, move to another state. I don't care. But I want you out of my town and away from my family. And if I don't? I smiled. Then things get interesting. He left without another word. That evening, Tom called with news. Kyle just quit his job, effective immediately. Really? Yep. Heard he's moving back to Boston. Something about a family emergency. How unfortunate. Rachel's not taking it well. She's been calling him all day, but he's not answering. Shocking. Sunday morning, I was having coffee on my front porch when Rachel's car pulled into the driveway. She got out slowly, like an old woman. The past week had aged her. Kyle's gone, she said. I heard. Did you threaten him? I had a conversation with him, man to man. He won't return my calls. Maybe he's busy. She sat down on the porch steps without being invited. I've lost everything, Evan. My job, my home, my... everything. You made your choices. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. What can I do? Tell me what I can do to make this right. I looked at her sitting there, broken and defeated, and felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pity. Just emptiness. There's nothing you can do, I said. It's over. She started crying again. Please don't do this. I'll do anything. Anything? Yes. Sign the divorce papers without a fight. Don't ask for alimony. Don't try to take half the business. Just walk away. I can't survive without... You should have thought of that before you decided to throw away 15 years of marriage for a few months of excitement. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. I loved you, Evan. I still love you. No, you don't. You loved the security I provided. The steady paycheck, the health insurance, the house, the stability. But you didn't love me. If you had, you never would have betrayed me. I stood up and walked toward the front door. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. I don't know, and I don't care. What about Maddie? What about her? She's my daughter, too. She's 16, old enough to decide for herself where she wants to live. You'll turn her against me. I won't have to. She's not stupid. She'll figure out what kind of person you really are. I went inside and locked the door behind me. 2 weeks later, the divorce papers were signed. Rachel had found a job at a small insurance office in the next town over, making half what she used to earn. She was renting a studio apartment and driving a 10-year-old Honda she'd bought from a used car lot. Maddie chose to stay with me. She'd lost respect for her mother when she learned about the affair, and Rachel's complete financial collapse had only made things worse. I can't believe Mom was so stupid, Maddie said one evening as we ate dinner. Your mother made some poor choices, I said diplomatically. She threw away everything for some guy who dumped her the minute things got complicated. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Dad. This was selfishness. I couldn't argue with that. A month after the divorce was finalized, I was closing up the hardware store when a familiar car pulled into the parking lot. Kyle's BMW. He got out and walked toward the door, moving like a man heading to his own execution. Thought you moved to Boston, I said. I did, but I came back. For what? For Rachel. I laughed. You're a little late for that. I know I screwed up. I should have stood by her. Yes, you should have. I want to make it right. How's that? I want to marry her. I stared at him for a long moment, then burst out laughing. What's so funny? He asked. You want to marry a broke, divorced woman with a teenage daughter and no prospects? The same woman you dumped the minute her life got complicated? I love her. No, you loved the idea of her. The successful businesswoman with the nice house and the stable marriage you could help her escape from. But that woman doesn't exist anymore. People change. Yes, they do. And you changed her into someone you don't actually want. His shoulders sagged. She won't even talk to me. Smart woman. I made a mistake. Yes, you did. You both did. And now you get to live with the consequences. He stood there for another minute, then walked back to his car and drove away. I never saw him again. 6 months later, I ran into Rachel at the grocery store. She looked better, healthier, more put together. She'd cut her hair short and lost the haunted look she'd worn during the divorce. Hello, Evan, she said. Rachel. How's Maddie? She's good. Made honor roll last semester. That's wonderful. She paused. I've been wanting to talk to you. About what? About what happened. About what I did. Ancient history. Not to me. I destroyed the best thing in my life for something that wasn't even real. You made your choice. I made the worst choice of my life, and I know I can never take it back. No, you can't. She nodded. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I lost, and I'm sorry. Okay. Are you seeing anyone? That's not your business anymore. You're right. I'm sorry. She started to walk away, then turned back. For what it's worth, I hope you're happy. I am. And I was. For the first time in years, I was genuinely happy. The hardware store was doing well. Maddie was thriving. I'd started dating a woman named Susan, who owned the bakery downtown, a widow who understood the value of loyalty and commitment. Rachel had taught me an important lesson. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. Sometimes it's simply refusing to be destroyed. She'd tried to break me, to reduce me to nothing more than an obstacle to her happiness. Instead, she'd freed me to become something better.